I'm Veronica Marshall at the Capitol. This week on Senate Spotlight, in an emergency, you need to know who to trust. And when people impersonate law enforcement, that trust is damaged.
To this day, if there's a vehicle that looks like a police vehicle and I'm on the road, I'm taking exits and taking lefts and rights to try to avoid that person.
The latest efforts to restore public trust in law enforcement. Plus,
we're discovering all these chemicals now that are polluting our water. So you have the forever chemicals, that's another problem. That's why I really think it's a dire situation.
More details on why the state must act now to pass a bonding bill with local projects. And academic success and empty stomachs don't go together. That's why there's a new push to give Minnesota's students healthier options at school.
We want to give our students the choices, but we also want to promote healthy choices in our schools.
That's all coming up.
Senate Spotlight is produced by the Minnesota Senate and Senate Media Services.
A man disguised as a police officer and driving an SUV equipped with flashing lights used his perceived authority to kill one lawmaker and severely injure another last year. Now, Minnesota is one step closer to making the crime of posing as a peace officer a felony. Impersonating a peace officer can create dangerous situations and erode the public's trust in legitimate law enforcement officers. That's why Minnesota's largest public safety labor union says it stands behind Senate File 3735, which strengthens the penalties for impersonating law enforcement. Currently, a person who falsely impersonates a peace officer with the intent to mislead another can be charged with a misdemeanor. Senate File 3735 changes that to a felony and adds the possibility of jail time and a fine as well. Senator John Hoffman, who survived last year's attack, says not only is the bill good politics, it's personal.
I was almost killed. My wife was almost killed. And my daughter had a gun faced in her face by an individual who looked like a police officer, had a vehicle that looked like a police vehicle, yelled, "This is police," had his license plate that said police on it, was wearing everything that you would think a police officer is. But you know what, Mr. Chair, he was not a police officer. This bill helps reinforce trust in legitimate law enforcement officers in our state and sends a clear signal to people that they will face stiff and severe consequences if they violate that trust.
Senator Hoffman has another bill that aims to prevent more attacks like the one his family experienced. Senate File 4235 bans public safety vehicles from being sold to the public if they haven't been stripped of law enforcement identifiers, like equipment or insignias, so that no one can be misled about who's behind the wheel.
What woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning was the light bar in the neighborhood and the pounding on the door. And that light bar should not have been in his hands.
Both bills passed out of the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee unanimously and move on to their next committees. When it comes to improving public safety, you might not think about infrastructure, but well-maintained bridges and roads can prevent accidents and help communities respond to emergencies. Water treatment and sanitation systems protect the public's health, and stormwater management systems can prevent flooding and reduce water pollution. But will Minnesota invest in infrastructure this year by passing a bonding bill? Senator Sandy Pappas, chair of the Capital Investment Committee, shares her thoughts. Senator, welcome to Senate Spotlight.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Over the interim, you and your committee members traveled across the state to look at some of the bonding proposals you've received. You've previously called that situation dire. So what did you see during this tour?
We were all over the state. We will do the Northwest, the Northeast, the Southwest, the Southeast, Central, and the Minneapolis-Saint Paul Twin Cities, broader Twin Cities area. And everywhere we went, it was water and sewer infrastructure and road infrastructure. Also, you know, there were other things that we saw. State agencies also had a need. Higher ed certainly needed asset preservation, we call it, deferred maintenance, whatever you want to call it. It's like roofs and windows and things that are falling apart. And I think we have not done a good enough job in keeping up with all those needs. And that's why I said the situation is dire. And in addition, especially our water and sewer infrastructure, a lot of that was built during the Clean Air Act, 70s. So now we're talking about it being 50 years old. And it's outdated. You need to replace that infrastructure. It's aging. And also we're discovering all these chemicals now that are polluting our water. So you have the forever chemicals. That's another problem. That's why I really think it's a dire situation.
Was there anything that we could have done to prevent this, or is it simply a fact of aging infrastructure, which will happen, and costs rising, or both?
I think it's two things. It's one, consistent large bonding bills would help, with a significant amount directed toward deferred maintenance is the expression we use. Keeping up with what we have, taking care of the buildings that we own, because it's not just state buildings. We own a lot of buildings, but it's also the University of Minnesota, all their campuses, and all of the Minnesota State campuses. We're responsible for helping them with deferred maintenance. So that's one thing. The other thing is for local governments that are now coming to us with needing help to replace their aging infrastructure. They could have been setting money aside, having a reserve fund, having a replacement fund, gradually raising their water and sewer fees to help pay for that, so that now it's not a situation all of a sudden where they're raising the fees and it's not enough and they need our help.
The governor has proposed a $907 million bonding bill. We know that won't meet the needs because you've received $6.5 billion worth of funding requests. So how do you pick and choose between the proposals you get? Who gets funded and why?
We look at several things. First of all, we want to know that the project is shovel ready, so that the money's not sitting in the bank, if you will, waiting for them to kind of get ready for the project. And we also maybe ask them to phase so that we can just fund part of a project. We will only fund up to 50% of a project, so the local community has to have skin in the game. Local communities have to set priorities. They come in, it's our first priority, second, third, whatever. And then we really look at recommendations by members. And then it's just hard to spread the money around, really, the whole state. A lot of people are unhappy.
We've mentioned what the governor has proposed and then the requests you've received. If it were up to you, how much money would go into bonding this year?
Oh, it was up to me, I would do $2 billion. And I would do it every year until we get caught up. But I think it's more realistic that it's going to be $1.2 billion. That's within the Minnesota Management and Budget Guidelines. It's close enough to what the governor has suggested, because he didn't suggest any local projects really. And our members really expect that we're going to do local projects.
We know that the state is walking a very tight rope this session when it comes to the budget. Can infrastructure be prioritized?
Yes, it can, because this is the bonding year, like we talked about originally. So it will cost us $21 million in debt this year, and then $159 in the next biennium. So out of however much we're going to spend, we have to set aside $180 million for the debt. Now this is a change, because in the past, that debt was just absorbed, what we call was absorbed into the forecast. So it was kind of spent, and it was as if it was paid for before we even saw the budget. But we changed that last year because we didn't think that we had actually given MMB the legal authorization to put it in the forecast, and we thought it was just more upfront that we say this is how much this bill is going to cost, in the next biennium, and we have to budget for that.
When will we find out how much money is going into a bonding bill?
Well, there's 4 bonding leads, Republican, Democrat, 2 of each in the House and the Senate. And so we will have that discussion, and then we'll have that discussion with leadership. So I would expect that dollar amount, which I'm guessing is going to be $1.2 billion, that will be determined maybe right after the break.
And if that happens right then, how soon could money start flowing out to these projects?
Well, unfortunately, the bonding bill tends to be the last bill we pass, which I really don't like that. So I would like to do an early bonding bill, because the earlier we pass it, then you're right, the earlier the money can flow. But let's say that we do pass it in May sometime, then all the groups that have been funded, they have to have a contract with MMB, Minnesota Management and Budget, that explains, what the project is and how they're going to fully fund it, because the state is the last dollar in. So the local community has to figure out where the rest of the money is coming from, regardless of whether we give them what we've asked or likely less than what they've asked. So once that's all figured out, then it's a reimbursable system. So then as the local city, let's say, as they spend the money, they submit their invoices then to M&B, and then they get reimbursed for that, probably on a monthly basis.
Now, Senator, you said part of the problem is we haven't been consistent in funding this. Why is that?
There used to be more consistency when I first came into office, where people understood that, we do a kind of a large bill during the bonding year, which is like the even year, and then we'd often do a smaller bill even during the other year, the odd year. And then at some point, it got really involved in leveraging by the minority party, because it has to be a 2/3 vote. So I need all 34 of my Democratic members to vote for it, plus I need at least 7 Republicans, and I would love to have more, actually, because most of our bonding bills really heavily support rural Minnesota. When you think of all the programs that we have that go out the door, our higher ed institutions, our DNR facilities, trails, I mean, that is all in rural Minnesota, state parks, et cetera. And the local communities that we fund are often in rural Minnesota. So I don't really like the idea that it's been used as a leverage. I think that's hurt us in terms of passing bonding bills. And when my party was in the minority, we used it as a leverage, and so did Republicans. So I've argued that we should negotiate within the bonding bill and not bring in outside issues. And last year, that's what we did. And so I think it got to be even a stronger bill for the minority because of that insistence that we negotiate within the bill. But that's fine, they need it. Those communities all need it. We didn't give out any money to people who don't need it and don't deserve it. So.
I've heard the sentiment that infrastructure shouldn't be partisan, and it
Right.
sounds like that's what you're saying.
Exactly.
How does that play out in your committee?
It plays out pretty well. I think mostly the difference is they use this expression called wants and needs. And so the needs obviously would be to the Republicans, the water, the sewer, the roads. Needs to urban Democrats can often be very different, because we have the Met Council, we have our own water facilities, but what our communities need is a community center, a park, or money for a park. So it can really vary on what people think are wants and needs.
So what do you think the chances are that we pass a bonding bill with local projects this session?
Well, hope springs eternal, I wouldn't want to say it's guaranteed, because you just never know what's sometimes going to happen. That's why I don't like leaving it to the last day. Even last year, we had to go into special session, and we passed the bonding bill in the special session because we weren't quite there yet. I would like to say that if we have very good relationship with all us 4 co-chairs, and we work together really well, and we are all flexible and willing to compromise, and I think that's part of the art of legislating, is being able to work with your colleagues, across divides, and get the job done for the people of Minnesota.
Senator, you've been chair of the Capital Investment Committee over the last several sessions. Mm-hmm. You've been in the committee longer, and you've been here working at the Capitol since 1984.
Right.
So you have so much knowledge of this process. How has it changed during your time here? Are we moving in the right direction?
Well, first of all, you have to remember, and that's a challenge. But I think that the change has happened in which the years in which the bonding bill got more divided, got more partisan, and was used as leverage. That was kind of a bad change that happened. I think we're getting away from that now and getting back to we all benefit from a bonding bill. I think that we have not changed enough in that 20 years ago, we were doing bonding bills like for $900 million, and the governor came in with a $900 million bonding bill, and construction costs have gone up, the number of projects have increased, we're funding more local projects, so that's been a real problem. But the idea, we didn't always tour either, and we used to mostly just do whatever the governor wanted in terms of infrastructure, and we didn't do a lot of local projects. So that's definitely changed. And the local communities have just come to us and asked us for help. And in 2023 in particular, when we had a lot of cash, that's when we decided to help a lot of nonprofits. And if we don't have cash, because only bonding dollars can only go to a governmental entity. So if we don't have cash, like we won't this year, then we can't really help those nonprofits. And a lot of them do provide services that are very much needed in local communities. It's just the way it sometimes works, is that a nonprofit does your local homeless shelter, for example. Yeah.
Senator, speaking of changes, you've announced you plan to retire at the end of this session. That is a huge loss for us, but what's next for you?
All my friends who have retired have said, don't plan anything, don't make any commitments. Just give yourself time to figure it out. So that's my plan, is not to plan. I have a lot of interests. I have a lot of grandchildren. I might still be around here, who knows? Some people have started to approach me already about possibly still working on some issues. So we'll see. But it is nice actually not to have a campaign. I can just focus on being a legislator this session and not have to worry about campaigning.
Well, I'm going to miss seeing you at the State Fair, but maybe I'll see you there, just visiting.
Just visiting, that's
yes.
right.
All right. Well, Senator, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
We are in a housing crisis. We are in an affordability crisis, and this is an intersection of those two things.
One of Minnesota's last most affordable housing opportunities will slip away if we don't act now, according to Senator Liz Bolden. She says Minnesotans who live in manufactured housing parks are being forced out of their homes due to predatory practices from out-of-state private equity firms. Those practices include price gouging and aggressive evictions.
The egregious injustices manufactured home residents suffer are compounded by the fact that Minnesota laws deny us fundamental rights to consumer protection that every other type of homeowner is afforded.
To protect the more than 180,000 Minnesotans who live in these parks, Bolden authored Senate File 2691, a bipartisan bill that creates a manufactured home park residents' Bill of Rights. The bill does three main things. It stops landlords from raising rent by more than 3% a year, it gives residents the opportunity to buy the park if it goes up for sale, and it strengthens resident protections. The bill's next stop is the Senate floor. It's hard to learn when you're hungry. That's the general thought behind the National School Lunch Program. It offers certain students nutritionally balanced meals at low cost or for free. Minnesota went one step further, offering free meals for all students. And now there's a push to improve the program even more by giving students more choices. Senator, thank you for being here.
Great to be here, Veronica.
All right, now you have a bill, that's Senate File 3687, and you say it would give students more choices and opportunities. So tell me about that.
Well, this legislation is modeled after the federal legislation that just passed bipartisanly and signed by President Trump a couple months ago to bring more choice to school students across Minnesota for milk consumption at lunch, and expanding to whole milk and other milk options that are currently not available under the milk policies since 2010 that have been limited to just skim milks and low-fat milks.
Would your bill allow for non-dairy beverages as well?
It would. It would also accommodate anybody that requests a non-dairy beverage, almond or other alternative milk products similar in nutrition, but that would be also available.
You've mentioned that this is part of the National School Lunch Program and that whole milk and 2% are currently not allowed. Why is that?
Well, that policy changed. It was a heavy-handed action by the federal government in 2010 that took away choice for students and school lunch providers, and that's what we're trying to remedy, and that's what the federal legislation is also attempting to remedy by bringing back whole milk and 2% and other choices of milk, including flavored milks in some option, as some options for students to choose from to encourage more milk drinking and more variety for students and school districts.
Now, Senator, obesity in children is on the rise. Does that give you any pause in offering them these higher fat content milks?
You know, that issue was discussed at the federal level when Congress considered this bill that passed bipartisanly. It does not, because, again, it doesn't mandate any certain type of milk that has to be drank, like the 2010 heavy-handed action from the government. It just brings more choices. But as Congress had heard when this bill passed and the testifiers talked about, ironically, there's studies that have shown an association with whole milk or higher fat milks not being correlating to more obesity. And in fact, in 2010, when this limited low-fat or skim milk policy went into place, the obesity rate in the United States for children was at 17%. It is now up to 21% after they mandated skim milks in the school districts. And so there doesn't seem to be a correlation. There seems to be an interesting association in many studies, as Professor Ayub from Albert Einstein Medical School in New York had testified to Congress that obesity rates seem to actually be lower in students or children that have drank higher fat milks. And so they're not conclusive, but there doesn't seem to be any correlation that the whole milk or the higher fat milks are a result of the obesity. In fact, the opposite seems to be some of the results and associations in many of these studies that Professor Ayub cited from Albert Einstein Medical School in New York, and other groups have talked to us about this. And so we think bringing choice back to students and school districts across Minnesota is a good policy, and let people choose what flavor, what type, and what fat milk they desire, because we also want to help students develop healthy choices.
Well, you mentioned more choices, and that's something that everyone can get behind. And to that end, the bill has bipartisan support. Does it have any critics?
Largely, it's been supported bipartisanly by Democrats and Republicans. As a Republican author, I've welcomed bipartisan support. Very little criticism. One critic in committee, but that was all we heard. Many groups testified in favor of this. Many ag groups, Minnesota milk producers, Farm Bureau, Farm Union, and groups that just generally wanted to see this choice and option offered to our school students, so they can develop healthy choices and have healthy options.
You mentioned committee. During committee, there was concern that having school systems stock all of these different options could create a burden for those systems. How do you respond to that?
Well, that was maybe the most critique or criticism we had in committee, but as I answered in committee and again in the legislation, it doesn't mandate any type of milk that schools have to provide. It just opens up for choices for schools to offer whole milk and other milks. If the students do not want to consume, say, one type of milk, the school can adjust their orders, and they don't have to stock a milk that people don't want to purchase or drink in their school, and they can fill that with whole milk, 2% chocolate milks, or other flavored milks that meet nutritional standards that ultimately is the goal, to have students drink healthy choices and consume more products of their choice.
Right, so it's not a requirement, it's an opportunity.
It is an opportunity for schools, which right now and previously, since 2010, haven't been able to offer this to students. And in many cases, we've heard anecdotal stories about milk consumption go down or milk waste be a big problem in our schools. And so those are all positive things that can change with more choice left to the school districts and the students with their desires. And of course, parents can have some impact and influence with their local school districts.
Another positive thing that was mentioned was that your bill could give school food services staff more creativity with their menus. But I'm wondering, does the impact of your bill reach beyond our school walls? Could it impact farmers or our economy?
It certainly can, and that's part of the motivation of the legislation. We want to give our students the choices, but we also want to promote healthy choices in our schools that students can pick, and it benefits farmers. The dairy farmers are the obvious ones. That milk is cartoned right here in Minnesota, produced off of Minnesota dairy farms. Those are tax-paying businesses and help pay for the schools' costs in their communities. And so it really is an economic driver for our farmers and our communities to have this milk as a healthy choice, once again, back in our school districts. And it really is part of the whole economic cycle that we want to keep healthy here in Minnesota and promote more students getting healthy milk choices for their lunch options, and not to have milk that they throw away, because we've heard stories about high milk waste with these previous limited options of just skim and low-fat milk, and that's not good for anybody, and we don't want to see milk and food thrown away. And there's been reports by many that more choices and whole milk choices and 2% choices are the most desired choices by students, and it will eliminate or much lessen the milk that's gotten thrown away in our school lunch programs, as well as encouraging more students to drink milk as a healthy choice during lunch.
Now, Senator, we started this conversation talking about milk. I want to bring it back to milk. You've said choice is very important to you. So to that end, we have a flight of milks for you to choose from. During that committee meeting, you mentioned several flavors. So we have a variety here for you. We have banana milk, almond, oat, cookies and cream, chocolate, and root beer, which we had never heard of until you mentioned it. So tell me, which one would you like to start with?
Well, Veronica, that is a smorgasbord of choices. Hard to pick from, but this kind of mimics the idea behind this legislation, as students could pick from lots of great dairy products. I will probably start with the root beer flavored milk, if that works.
Here you are, Senator. All right, I will go for oat.
And let me just conclude. We talk about dairy products, and a fun little saying I've come up with over the years is, remember, milk, cheese, ice cream, and butter are all great and tasty things that come from an udder.
I hadn't heard that. Thank you. All right, cheers, Senator.
Cheers.
That's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.